Hello, everyone. This is John W., the businessman with a conscience. Over here at the Alchemy Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one brick, one building, one block at a time. And as we often say, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we show that we care by the things that we do. And today, as usual, I'm always trying to, if I do or don't, I'm not for sure, but I definitely have good intentions. And I try to say something that would encourage someone. And I'm often talking about responsibilities, and more or less, one of the reasons is why I'm constantly talking about it, because it appears that more and more people has been becoming more and more less responsible for their actions and the things that they are doing. And like I often say, we have to be responsible, and we know that we all are going through things. And since COVID, life has been, the changes, it had made a dynamic change, like a complete turnaround. It seems as if people don't really know if they're coming or going today. So it's at a point now where it looked like that it's just a whatever, whatever happens, whatever goes, whatever I do. You like it, you don't like it. But I still believe in keeping hope alive. And I believe that there's hope always. And my attitude is always don't ever give up on anyone. Me, you, the loved ones. And speaking of loved ones, that's my roots. I'm often talking about my parents, and that's one of the reasons and one of the things that keeps me focused, especially on responsibilities and obligations. Because my father always told me, John, he said, your word is your bond. He said, say what you mean and mean what you say. And unfortunately, like I say, since COVID gets just a whole nother something else and seem to have happened to us where we don't seem to care. It's like every man, boy, girl, dog, whatever, is for themselves. And we don't seem to care about what's going on with the other one, as long as I'm okay. But we have to stay focused on lifting one another up, encouraging others. Because I don't know about you, but I like being happy. I like having what I want when I want it. And every chance I get, I would like to have it. Responsibilities, obligations, relationships, being married, I've found that in some cases, a lot of people want to try and tell you what to do or how to do or how to go by doing something. But how can I tell you about a situation if I never had or experienced that situation in particular? We can read books and we can go by theory and things such as that. But theory is one thing, putting puzzles together. You read the directions and you follow the instructions. But there's nothing like life experience itself. I recall a situation a friend of mine told me about a marriage counselor, and come to find out that the marriage counselor themselves had never been married. So, you can read upon, and read and study and talk about a lot of stuff that what other people have went through and experienced. But if you haven't experienced it yourself, it's kind of hard for you to kind of tell someone what to expect or how to treat someone. If, everybody wants to be loved, and it's such a good, warm feeling to be loved. and especially to be loved by the person you want to be loved by. And saying that, uh, in a relationship, in a marriage, I often tell people, because of my experience itself, not nothing that I read, but I found that when I treat my wife the way I want to be treated, and not necessarily, I mean, it's just right to treat people right, period, and you treat them that way, and hopefully that they love and care and feel the same way about you that they will find themselves treating you. And my father would always say, love don't hurt. Love lifts. Love is caring, being concerned. Love's an action. You express love. You can talk about it, but most important, you have to be about it. In my earlier stage, in some of my talks, you heard me talk about my father, and he exercised love every chance that he got. He was the pastor of our church. He told us, and we believed in him, and we saw the difference that it made when you practice love with everybody. He let us know that not only do you have siblings, that you have biological sisters and brothers, but you also, in the ministry, in the church, you have your sisters and brothers, and they are just as important, and they want to be loved, they want to be cared about, they want to be lifted up, they want you to put a smile on their face as well. And we learned how, through my father, mother and father, by the love that they taught us. They taught us that everybody was somebody, that there was no little I's and big U's, or big U's and little I's. That we all were just as important, even though my last name was Beverly and my father's name was Beverly, but the church members just as well was just as important. And we believed in family. We loved on one another. We loved on our church family, and we exercised and practiced that love. Like I say, my father would tell me about, because I was too young to know about it. So he would tell us about when he would go to work sometimes. And I guess in a sense today, it would be a situation where you perhaps buy some roses or a box of candy or something of that sort and bring it home to your wife or your girlfriend or your friend or whatever, significant other, to show and express your feelings, to show them that you are concerned, that you're thinking about them, and that they are important to you. And Dad would often tell us about when he would go to work, he didn't have much money, but on his way home, he would pick up a candy bar, where if he didn't have enough money to buy just one, he would buy that one candy bar and he would eat half of it, and he would wrap up the other half and he would bring it home to my mother. And I can imagine that had to make her feel good, because for one, she wouldn't have known if he had a candy bar or not, because he could have ate it up himself. But instead, he would take that candy bar and eat half of it and bring it home, the other half to her. And like I say, that had to make her feel good, because it let her know that her husband was thinking about her. So back to today, that would, I guess, would be equivalent to, like I said again, perhaps buying a dozen of roses. And it always don't have to be a dozen, because there are guys out there on the corner that's selling one flower, 2, 3 flowers for $5 or something of that sort. And it don't have to be flowers. Maybe she don't like flowers. You can stop in the drugstore or one of these little florists or candy shops and get a box of candy. And if you can't afford a box of candy, you know what your significant other like. It might be a Baby Blue Ruth, a Hershey with almond, or a plain Hershey, a Carmelo, or 100 grand, or something of that sort. So perhaps maybe you would pick up a candy bar for her. And sometimes, you know what really says something, because sometimes we can get a little help. We can go into the drugstores and go in that little card section, the greeting card, And you could look at some cards and read some thinking about you, appreciating you, thank you, my best friend, or whatever. And those cards have some beautiful saying, and it helps. It kind of, they know it's not your words, but those kind, beautiful, soft words helps to express how you feel. And when you look at those, sometimes it makes you feel good just reading them. And like that, and I'm sure she would, or I hope that she would, and just take that card home. And now my thing, I like to be, kind of surprised. I may take it and sit something like that on the pillow in the bedroom, or where I know she's getting ready to sit, have it sitting somewhere right in front of her, so she could see it when she sit down. But like I say, we're living in a time and a day where people don't seem to exercise that kind of love, exercise that kind of concern, or that kind of consideration for others. We have been through so much since COVID. And since COVID, we have been shut in where we couldn't go. And I guess we really learned about one another by being shut up with each other. And, it caused a whole lot of anxiety, oppression, and depression. Excuse me. But stemming from that, we don't have to stay there now that we are able to get out and do things for ourselves and others. We have an opportunity. So, like I say, we can talk about it, but most important, be about it. And if you've never been through something, like I say, how can you tell somebody about something of that sort? Even death, I have lost sisters and brothers, cousins, uncles, and aunts. And unlike a mother and father, the sisters and brothers, not that you don't love them because you love them so dearly, and it hurts so bad when you lose one or the other. But when you do, it's something about that love. And whenever you think about it, you have a little tender spot in it. Sometimes it may last, depending upon the relationship and just how close you were to that individual, the sister, brother, cousin, uncle, or aunt. It makes a difference whether it's a week or two, 3 months, 3 years before you begin to lighten the load and feel a little bit better and a little more comfortable when you think about the situation. But more so, it's when you lose a parent, a mother, and a father. I know when I lost my father, it was devastating to me. I had an anxiety attack. I thought I was going to die. At some time, I wanted to die, but I prayed about it and I, put it in God's hand, and I had to take one day at a time. And most important, talk to somebody, that you care about, and express your feelings and be able to talk to somebody that can share, that perhaps has been through some of the stuff that you have been through, have lost a father. Because, people, they have good intentions and they mean well. I know what you're going through. I know how you feel. But you'll be all right, just whatever. But no, if they haven't lost a father, they can't tell you how you feel. If they haven't lost a mother, when I lost my mother, that was, another thing. I was about ready to look like I was going to check out then too. But I kept hearing my mother in the background. My father would always tell me, John, stay focused. John, you could do it. And my mama would always tell me, John, keep it moving. No matter what you're going through. And even now, sometimes I could just be sitting down and by myself and have a moment and break down in tears. But in the back of my mind, I try to shake it off and suck it up and think about the good times. When my mom would make me laugh, I would make her laugh. When my father and I would sit here in the store and drink a cup of coffee and eat a McDonald's sausage and biscuit. And he would tell me some of the stories and things and just to reminisce about the good times. So in going through these different things and situations that you're going through, think about it. Remember the good times and practice what you preach. A lot of people want to tell you to do something, but they won't do it themselves. So hopefully I said something that will encourage you, give you something to think about. This is John Beverly, the businessman with a conscience. Remember, here at the Human Village, where each one reach one, each one teach one. One brick, one building, one block at a time. And people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And we show it by the things that we do.